We're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Future of Finance Meetup by GeekyAnts in collaboration with our good friends Google for Developers. It's amazing to see you here. Very hot topics today, 34 degrees hot topics. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, um, there are 5 QR codes in the entire session that which I will be sharing with you, and hope you will be scanning all of them. The first one is the Wi-Fi password QR code. So if you want to connect to the internet, please do so. Yeah. Okay. Do let me know if you cannot connect to the network. The password, you should have a network called GeekyAnts Guest. The password is GeekyAnts at Guest 2023. We wanted to change it to 24, but after I think 7, 8 meetups, it's kind of become a legacy, so we're not changing it. So we're keeping it at 2023. Okay, all done? Please give me a thumbs up when you're done. Okay, I see a few thumbs up. Done, done, done. Okay, awesome. Great. So a brief introduction about me. I am Rakesh. I'm the resident spreadsheet savant here. I create a lot of spreadsheets. Comes with part of the job. I lead head growth marketing here, and you can scan me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and it's actually a very exciting time of the year. We have a lot of conferences and meetups coming in, and GeekyAnts by default is working on a lot of things. Um, I'll give a brief introduction in the coming slides, but exclusively for people who are here at this meetup today, we have something very special. We have the second QR code of the, I think third, right? Third QR code of the day, which is the GeekConf Mini. So the GeekConf is a conference powered by GeekyAnts, and we did our first GeekConf last year in Berlin, and this year we are doing it in Bangalore. The topic is going to be mostly based on AI and different industries that AI is touching. So this QR code is an early bird offer discount on the tickets, and it's exclusively to people here in the meetup. So you'll get a mail with this exclusive coupon code, which you can take. If you want, you can also have the flyers there. The flyers also has the same QR code. You must have received it at your entry point. Okay, so more about the GeekCon in the later stages of the meetup. Okay, we have a few people coming in. Okay, so who are we? Geeky Ants. Okay, so Geeky Ants is a product development studio. We are very much AI driven, and we follow AI, putting customer first. So we have the customer centric approach. That's a value that we hold very strongly. Our main vision is to empower everyone to build things faster, and as part of that vision, we do a lot of open source projects as well. How many of you know GlueStack native base? Raise of hands. Okay, awesome. Great. So GlueStack and Native Base are open source libraries which we work on. A lot of people have collaborated with us in these libraries, and hence we've received a lot of love as well. So as part of them, as part of empowering everyone to build things faster, we hold a lot of meetups like this, and we also go to a lot of meetups ourselves and conferences as well. You can see a lot of our team members in various conferences, Web Summit, we have GitX, we have the Figma config. So collaboration is a big part of what we do. And recently, like I mentioned, we did a build with AI and React Native meetup at Nimhans. We are doing one actually, another one in July. So please keep a watch out for that as well. Which brings me to today's meetup, which is the future of finance, right? What is the future of finance? Exactly, more or less 3 decades ago, we had Wells Fargo, the first major bank, to let customers use the internet to access their accounts, right? 1998, just 3 years after that happened, PayPal came into the picture, person to person digital payments rolled out, right? Now, with AI coming into the race, what will happen? That's what we're going to discuss today, right? Recently, these are some news items which I found out and read. We have Cred joining the race. for with e-rupee. We have Visa wanting to, take Mastercard seat. We've had a lot of valuations in terms of Penny Lane and a lot of things happening in fintech in general, right? So for that, we thought, why not bring some of the great minds working in fintech at one single place and to discuss all of it. So hence we have four amazing speakers. We actually had five, but Srinidhi could not come today because of some issues. And so we have API banking from tech essential to business priority by Robin Ranjan. He's here. He's a senior business analyst at GeekyAnts. Please give him a round of applause. We also have Siddharth Jageria. He is a senior product manager at Credit Karma. He'll be talking on Beyond Civil, rewriting India's credit story with everyday trust signals. We have Pratik Gautam, he will be talking about AI and chatbots in banking, smarter customer service. He's a lead account manager at GeekyAnts. And we have Rushabh Vasa. He is the director at Shivami and a Google developer expert. And he will be doing Build with AI, revolutionizing fintech with Google AI. And I just spoke to him, and he has a very exciting talk lined up. So before we give Rushabh the stage, a few code of conduct about the event. Let's not use any hate speech. We do not take inappropriate comments. Let's keep it light. We'll be respectful from using any strong words. While the speaker is talking, we'll be silent. And the most important thing about any meetup is to network, right? So as many handshakes as you can, and as many connections as you can, right? Let's do that. Keep your questions after the talk or networking sessions. The reason why we say this is because Q&As do get long. And if we do have time, we will definitely give speakers and the audience the chance to have a little bit of a Q&A session based on how we're running, right? The time that we're running. And let's maintain silence while a speaker is giving a talk. It's very important since we're also in a closed space. The silence does, talks do get transmitted faster. So yeah, let's call Rushabh onto the stage. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, and thanks for the warm introduction, and thanks again for inviting me. Uh, as he said, we're gonna have some exciting lineup of the speakers. I'm the first one, so I'm not going to talk much. In fact, I would be little bit of disagree with your one of the code of conduct that people should not speak, only speaker should speak. So I would try to keep it more interactive, and so we as my introduction, I said I'm a director at Shivami. We are a cloud partner company. Do a lot of AI implementations for brands, companies across the globe. And apart from that, I'm also Google developer expert for cloud and AI. So that's about me. I've been also part of Google for Startup Accelerator as a mentor. Been working with a lot of startups closely in last 5 to 6 years. Uh, so yeah, that's about me. And today we're going to talk about, in fact, we're going to do a lab actually, a code lab. Well, we all have heard about this agent AI, like AI is the buzzword, right? Everyone's talking about the AI, and then now there is another into that AI space called agents, right? Everyone is now just talking about agents. There is agent-to-agent protocol, and then MCP and all that sort of thing. So we'll try to build one agent today, and there is a code lab for that. We'll go through it, and in the course I'll also explain you some of the concepts about the agents, AI, and so on. So do that. And how much time I have, because I think the code lab is 40 minutes. Yeah, so we have very tight timelines. So people who have laptop can just go to this link first actually. Everyone like have used GCP, Google Cloud Console, have created account ever. If not, you can just go to this link. There will be cloud credits available for you to use this lab because you will need those credits as well. I'll tell you how to redeem those credits. Uh, First thing is to kind of just go to this link, and if you don't have laptop, you can still see. I'll just walk you through what we are doing, how are we building, and or you can take a picture. You can still redeem this credits and you try this lab at home as well. So if not, I mean this is for the credit, but there will be another link that will be used for will be using for the lab. So you can also try this at home whenever you have time. You can use those credits and try to build your own agent basically. So when you go to this thing, everyone has got like open this link. Okay. So when you go to this link, you will see something like this, right? Like a sign-in page. So use your Google account or any Gmail account basically, or any account that you use for development, or if you already have a GCP account, you can use the same as well. And click on sign in. And so this is the page you will see once you sign in using your Gmail account. You will see this page, and then there's a button over there which says click to access your credits. So you can click on that. If you have already created a billing account earlier, you may not be able to see that. But if it is like a new account, you will see that button. If anyone has an issue accessing this page, let me know. Link here. This is the link. So when you click on that button where access your credits, you'll get a small form like this where you just put your first name, last name, and just confirm. Got it? So far so good. Anyone has any issues? Right. And then when you click on that create Google Cloud project, the next tab, you will see a Google Cloud console. So we'll do till here. I mean, ideally you should be in the console. When you click on create project, you will, yeah, this is the console. Okay, good. Everyone is in the console. What did it show? Page not displayed. Just click on the Google Cloud button at top. You will be in the console like this. What it? Just click on the logo Google Cloud on the top left. And then you can just create a project on the top. You can see this organization. Just click on this, or you can also see a line where it has option to create a project. So just create one simple project. You can name it the way you want. So this is how it will look. When you click on the create project, it will ask for the project name. Billing account, you already have a credit, so you can select that and just create the project. So these are the steps basically. Go to console, create project. So if you don't see this billing account, you can just check, but I think everyone should get that thing if you have redeemed the credits. All right, good. So okay, now so you are already in the console. I mean, you already have GCP environment where we'll be creating this project. Now this is the lab that we are going to do. So you can either scan the QR code or open this bit.ly link. So the lab has basic steps that we will follow one by one, and we build the agent. And this is very easy. I mean, you don't need too much of coding skills for this. I mean, even like, uh, we'll be using Vertex AI for the same. This is Google's AI solution. How many of you have kind of built any AI solution, kind of try to kind of, yeah. What have you built? Nice. You also built? What is it? Nice. And what did you use for that? Mhm. Right. Nice. Right. And what technology you used for that? Nice. Good. But you built it successfully, right? Yeah. That's good. Everyone got this link. You can also take people who don't have the laptop can take this. I mean, you take a photo or something or note this link. You can try this lab at home as well. So basically, you will see something like this when you open that link. This is a code lab. You can see the steps over here. It says 45 minutes. We'll try to wrap up within the given time. So, so before you begin like prerequisite, we already have got our Google Cloud Console, and like I told you, we'll be using building an agent. Does anyone know what's the difference between agent or normal AI solutions that we build, or like ChatGPT or Gemini versus agents? No. Everyone has heard about this term called agents, right? AI agents is like agentic AI and so on. Yeah. Okay, so that's true. Agent is a obviously designed for a specific task, and at the same time, wherein all this generative AI, the name itself says it's for generating content, multimodal content like text, image, video. Agent is also has the capability to perform certain tasks. So and not only generate. So for example, you can ask Chat GPT to kind of plan a tour to, let's say, you want to go to Switzerland. So you can ask Chat GPT and it will build the entire itinerary for you, right? It will give you like over 5 days itinerary for Switzerland, which flight to take and all that thing. That's info like just generative, right? Now if you have agent, like instead of Chat GPT, a travel agent, it will also do a booking for you. So when you say, okay, it will say, take this flight, take this hotel, and this is it. It will, as the agent has a capability to perform actions as well. So not only information, but also actions. So now next time you say, okay, that there is a travel agent, and it will give you the itinerary. And if you say, okay, now I'm good with it, why don't you book it? So you can have a backend integrated with Make My Trip or whatever, and it will also do the bookings for you. So it will not give you information, but also perform tasks. That's the no primary difference between like what we call an agent versus all kind of AI solutions, and especially the Gen AI or LLMs that we have. All right, so we'll not. Okay, so first of, I mean, I'll not take you through this all this theory. I mean, you can read that later. But yeah, I mean, we'll go to the Vertex AI Agent Builder. You can see this link on. You can go to step 3, and there is a link over here. It says Vertex AI Agent Builder. When you click on it, it will again take you to a GCP console where you have created your project, and you will see something like this, like this. Welcome to, you should see this screen basically, and there is an option to activate the APIs. So let's say I click on this create app. Everyone got this screen? Yeah. Okay. So now if you see this screen, there are multiple type of agents or apps that you can basically create. So you can see there is a custom search that you can build for your website. There's a media search which can probably have all your media content that you have, and to build some AI on top of it. Let's say you have a lot of training videos and training material in terms of audio, video, and text, and you want to kind of build an agent on top of it. You can use this kind of media search. or there is a e-commerce, where you want to kind of build something related to agent, where you can actually have, an agent to perform tasks for you. It can be tracking your order status, or tracking your shipments, or even kind of suggesting the products. So these are different kind of agents that or AI tools that you can build using this AI agent builder. Uh, we will go with this conversational AI builder right now. So there are two ways again. One is a conversational agent, and other is a chat. I mean, it can also be integrated with Dialogflow. How many of you heard about the product called Dialogflow? So it's basically a tool that you can use to build chatbots. So you can define your chat flow and using Dialogflow, and also it will give you the integration. So you can embed that chatbot with your website, or wherever you want to do. So you can use Dialogflow for that same. And there are other tools that you can use, like you want to build some recommendation engine, like if you have an e-commerce website based on your shopping history, or based on the browsing history, you want to recommend certain products, you can use that. And then there are other tools. We'll not go with it. Go with conversational agent right now, because that's what we are trying to do. So when you click on that create, it will actually come open a page which is named as conversational agents. So again, you can select your project that you want to create, and then this is the API that it wants you to enable. So it will ask you to enable the API. Just click on enable API, and it will, you already have a billing account, so it should not be a problem. Yeah. So you can now when you click on this, you will see these kind of options, like what kind of agent you want to create. So there are pre-built agents. If you can explore that. There are a lot of pre-built agents which are already built by Google. You can just start using it as it is out of the shelf. Uh, there is one is build your own, and other is a Q&A based agent. So again, Q&A based agent is more of like where it can be more used for FAQs and that kind of use cases. Even for your support team, let's say if you want to kind of have some agent which will help them, so you can use it. But we'll go with the build your own agent, because we want to kind of build a custom agent of our own. So when you click on it, it will ask you for this information. So you can give the name of your agent, location. As of now, we'll keep it US, but otherwise there are multiple locations that you can support, time zone and so on. Right? We'll keep it playbook, because we are not, we're not setting up any predefined flow or rules for the agent. But if let's say we are building a specific agent, you want to kind of define certain rules for it, you can go with the flow based as well. But right now we go with playbook based. We'll use generative AI capability to understand. So we'll see that how it works, and then give the answer in a natural language. So when you click on the create button over here, you can just give the name. So uh, let's say we'll build finance agent today. And if you're missing out on the steps in the code lab link that we had, these steps are also there. So in case you want to refer to those code lab page, it's here. You can see this. So again, we saw that we are going with the conversational agents. We enabled the API. Then we create agent. This is the build your agent. That's what we did right now. We gave the name to the agent. It can be anything. In this code lab, it's travel buddy, but I mean, you can think of any idea that you want to build an agent for, and give it a name. It can be, finance. It can be something related to marketing, sales, whatever you want to. HR use cases if you have. So give that name. You'll go with the playbook as we saw. And when you create, you would see a screen like this, where you want to give that goal, like what that agent should do. So for example, in this travel based agent, it's a help customer answer travel related queries. That's the goal of an agent. So you can define that goal. The best part of it is, because the Gen AI and Vertex AI Gemini is in the backend, it will understand what you want agent to do. So it has its own knowledge. You don't have to tell like what exactly travel agent. what should do. You just define that, okay, this is the agent and this agent is built for travel related queries and it will learn by itself. We'll see that as well. And instructions. So like, again, you want to give a specific instructions, you can do that as well because you want to talk only about your company, let's say. You don't want to give any external information. So all this can be, information that you are giving to the agent, and based on the information agent will learn by itself. So let's say here what it is written is like greet the user and then ask how can we help them. So it's basically uh, the welcome, how they want to welcome the user. That's what it is given as an instruction. You can also specifically say, call them by name. Let's say if you have a database of the customer or existing users, so you can also mention all that kind of thing, and then whatever extra instructions that you want to provide to the agent. So we'll try to keep it simple, just like one line. So you can put a goal that what agent should do, and if you have any information, we'll see how the instruction is useful in future. But as of now, whatever instruction you want to give, you can give, or you can keep it as open as well, like, if you don't want to. And there are templates also. So if you don't know what to do, there are templates where you can actually ask agent that, okay, that this is what you should do, and then you can just save the agent over here. So far everyone is aligned. Yeah, you can call me. Like, see, if there is an issue, you can just call me because this is we can keep it like hands-on, so it's not like a talk. This is created. Anyone has any technical difficulties, challenges, like to navigate through this page? Or everyone has done this? But so, what are the use cases that you have like selected? Everyone is building travel agent or something new? Yeah, yeah, help about investing, right? Good. And that's what it is, like where eventually what will happen, like, because you want, let's say he's building an agent where he wants to help the users about investment. Now investment, we all know, everyone has their own theory, everyone has their own way of investing, the processing the information, and then ideology. So how would agent know that, okay, this is the way he wants his user to kind of plan or any specific way he wants uh, the agent to suggest investment plan, like say whether it should be moderate or risky, or like neutral and so on. So we'll see. It's called basically grounding, and whatever the terms we use in terms of, yeah, similar thing we can also train to the agent. Now once you have built this, I mean, you can see this small icon over here. It's like chat sort of icon, and when you click, you can actually try, like, if you have probably given instruction to greet user, just say hi and see if it is kind of response back with the right way, the way you have instructed, if you have done something. Just creating one basic goal will be like, to initial plan, I'm just using, and I'll just keep it simple so that we don't spend a lot of time on this. And this is what you will see, right? You see this. So again, it's a draft environment. We have seen this. This is where you can select the model that you want. So you can use Gemini 1.5 Flash, Gemini 2.0. Now there's a 2.5 also which is announced a few weeks back. So that also will be coming in. And all the agent has their own capabilities. And you can see more on the documents on the Gemini where, when to use Flash, when to use Light, and so on. So let's say we'll use Gemini 1.5 Flash or even 2.0 Flash we can use. And then I'll just say hi. And then yeah, it says hi. How can I help you today? Right? It's just a basic instruction that we provided. Based on that, it's working. So basically, so far the agent is working. Now let's go to the main part of this thing. Okay. And then yeah, I mean, if you can ask further, it will actually tell you what the agent is built for. So let's say if it says. Okay, so this is not like something where, I mean, I can also escalate to the human agent and fail. So yeah, I mean, all this integration, what it says is basically, uh, I can help you with uh, basic knowledge. I mean, because we are not defined yet, we'll see how we can define agent. But also, it is also says that I can escalate the call to a human agent if needed. So that means you can also integrate. Let's say if you are building a chatbot or something, a customer service chatbot, and agent is only able to answer certain questions. Then after a point, you feel okay, this is not something, and the user wants to interact with actually a human customer service person. So agent can actually hand over the conversation back to the call center, so you can have that backward integration with any IP-based telephony or service that you're using, and it will actually connect back to uh, the human sitting at the call center. So it will actually, you can do that as well. So that's what it says basically. And that can be done using dialog flows. In the backend, again, it's using dialog flows. Since we enable dialog flow API. Okay, so now this is where the major, I mean, most important thing is like, how we give the specific information to the agent. Uh, Again, like here we have an example where we can connect data store, but it can be in form of text, it can be in form of any document that you have or anything. So again, in this example, it's because it's related to travel. Uh, so if you try asking, let's say, what's the best way to reach Wakanda, for example, and the agent doesn't know Wakanda, right? What is it? So like similarly, if you're building any kind of agent, you can ask some random question, I mean, related to your agent and see if it is able to answer or not. But as of now, in this case, the agent doesn't know what Wakanda is. I mean, it's a some made up country that we have taken just so that if you ask about India, maybe it will be able to because Gemini has that information. But just to make you understand how it works on a custom information or proprietary information, we've taken this example in this lab. So usually when you ask, it will say, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know, right? That's the typical answer you will have. That means we have to provide that information to the agent from where it will learn. So how do we do that? Is basically here, if you go again on the screen, you will see an option to connect a data store. So this is a conversation. This is the console that we are in. If you see here, you can see an option to connect the data store, right? And then when you click on the create data store, you will see this page where it will say you can create tools. Now, in this case, you can create multiple tools. So let's say there are 10 countries and you want to create a travel plus something according to your itinerary. And, let's say you have your tour company and you only have a type with say 5 hotels in that country. And you only want to suggest those hotels. and you also want to know, and maybe kind of plan a travel or give information that you have kind of created, or it's about your organization. Let's say if it is about your organization, your HR policies. Now those policies are very custom made for your organization. So how would agent know that, okay, what are the policies of your organization? So all this, and let's say there is a HR tool, then they go to marketing, and both can be interlinked. I mean, and now though there is a agent to agent protocol as well. So two agents can also work in sync. So that also, for example, there could be an agent which is like a travel plan. Let's say if you have an agent to uh, have the internal travel policy, and then there is another agent which only helps you with the booking. So if there is a travel agent, travel policy agent, which let's say you can ask, okay, uh, I want to travel to Delhi from like Bangalore, what is the cap? So you can say, okay, there's only 10 up to 10,000 rupees you can book a ticket, or you can only go with economy class, you can only book certain hotels and so on. Like that's the organization policy. Once your plan is fit in that policy, your agent can help you make that plan. Once the plan is done, you can, the agent can then hand over to the another agent which will help you with booking the entire process. So that entire process can be automated in a way. But anyway, right now we'll see that we can create, you can just give some name, click on the data store, and here you can give the information. Now here it can be text, or it can be a data, I mean, we can create a new data store, and it can be document, or it can be database, or anything. It goes to my other account, but yeah. Yeah. So here, when you click on it, it will bring you data store. So it can be cloud storage. It can be a website. Let's say if you're building a support, you already have a FAQ section on your website. You just want to give that link. Agent will train by itself and build that content. Or you can use cloud storage, where you can upload that PDF. So what I would suggest you, create some basic content about the agent that you are creating, or you can use Gemini or ChatGPT to just create that content. Take that as a text and put it in your make it a word file or text file, and upload it here. So you can choose that file from the browse section. It can be, so if you see these options, there are multiple options. Obviously the first thing is a PDF, text file, HTML file. But if you see, if it is like, something that you want to build, bring it from your website or from a database, you can also use JSON. So you can use structured JSON data, where it will pull all the information from your database or from other source where you have. Or you can use a kind of unstructured data like PDF, XML, and so on. So you can use that as well, but that is only for the healthcare right now. It's in preview, but I'm sure there will be multiple formats which will be supported later on. So this is what you can do. And then again, you want to kind of sync it, like if your document is being updated frequently, you can probably have that sync option where you want to kind of one time, or if it is some real time data from your, let's say, your e-commerce website, and you have a lot of e-commerce transactions which are happening every day. You want to keep it like real, and keep the agent updated. So you can use streaming as well, and so on. So here you can upload the file or folder. I mean, this is the cloud bucket basically that will be created, and then here you can just upload your file. You can create a new bucket, or you just select any existing folder that you have. Like, so for example, this is the one PDF that I have already uploaded. You can select, or you can upload from here. So far, everyone is with me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask. I mean, this might be like multiple data sources in terms of documents. Yes, so you can actually select a folder, and that folder can have multiple documents as well. You cannot inject the script right now. You can probably have structured data. So you can do it through JSON calls, or you can have documents or any unstructured data, maybe like PDF or XML files and so on. Yeah. Or it can be simple text as well as of now. So yeah, I mean, this is something where you can create a bucket and then select a file. I'm just selecting some random file just to show you how it works. And when you click on continue, again, whatever the name you want to give. There are advanced options as well where you want to use multiple parsers. Let's say if you have some documents which are handwritten and scanned pages, you can use OCR parser as well. If it is like normal PDF or like digital document, you can use digital parser and so on. So this is not something that required right now, but you can probably use it. And then there are certain content that you want to exclude from generative AI and you want to keep it as it is. There is option to do that as well. But as of now, we'll just keep it simple. Just upload document, and this is how we'll see the data store is created. Okay. And then you can create multiple such tools or data stores basically. So in this, you cannot see the tokens. Observatory is not included in this. I mean, with this tool, because it's out of the box solution. So they don't have that token based system for this. But I think you can transcript all the chats and this is happening. You can see that in the dialog flow logs, where you can see that what kind of interaction has happened and what is the response that has been given by the agent. So if you want to correct that thing, you can actually review those conversations, and based on that those conversations, you can always try to improve, say whether the the question, I mean, the answer was right or not, and so on. So here we saw that how we can create the data store. You select the file. You can take text file, Excel file, whatever. This in this lab, if you see, they have given some basic text, and this is part of some text file. So this Wakanda is like some imaginary country. So what that country is about, what is the culture about the country. There is a Disney theme park and all that sort of thing. So you can give that kind of information and create that file and upload that file like we saw here, right? So to create a data store. A data store is nothing but the knowledge base that you are giving to the agent, right? That otherwise normal uh, LLMs would not have or would not know about. And when you create it, then again we'll go back to our agent page, and you can select, like we saw that 8 data store, right? Here add the data store, and you can select the data store over here and add that data store. Good. So far everyone has added the data store. This is how you can select the data store that you have created. It will show you the list and just select that data store. Good. And then you can click on the save button on the top since you have connected the data store. And you will see the data store is visible in your agent console that you connected. And then we'll go back to the agent's basic page, which is like if you see on the console, you can come here. And then there are certain parameters that you can set. Like you can also create examples and so on. We'll not go in that kind of, just build a basic. And when you click on this agent basic icon, you will see your agent which is being created over here. And then again you go to the same agent page, and here you will see there is a code interpreter and so on. So you can probably just select the other one. There is no coding is involved. If you're building something with code or helping to write your own code and all, you can probably use code interpreter, which will understand your code and kind of suggest you and write code according to your coding style or your functions and so on as well. So you can build that, but right now we'll use alternate location as our data store. We already connected, and this is the important part. Whatever the tool that you want agent to use, you just have to give that as a part of instruction that okay, use this tool if users request contains the location that does not exist, right? So that's why we saw an example of Wakanda which does not exist. So when you asked about it, it didn't know. So now the agent doesn't know initially that what is the Wakanda is about. Now you are telling agent that okay, when someone asks for something, the location which you don't know, use this tool. So that's how you kind of train agent, and you can have multiple tools. So let's say if you someone asks about this particular country, use this tool. If someone asks about flight details, use this tool. If someone asks about, let's say, some other itinerary, use this. So you can create multiple tools and then link it with different agents as well. And then uh, once you give that instruction, this is syntax. You can see that, or there's a template also. You can check it there as well. And then you can again click on that icon where now you ask for that question, and let's see if the agent answers from the data that you have given or not. So ask some questions which is related to information that you have provided. So for example, earlier we saw in that case, like when we asked for the Wakanda, it said I don't know, and now it gave the location, and again give you the information like Wakanda is a fictional African nation featured in Marvel comics, and then yeah, whatever the information it has, it gave you that information from the document that you have provided, right? So, and then you can, now this is a very basic demo or example that how you can build your agent. I mean, you can make a full-fledged agent with a lot of information, data store that you have, kind of data that you want to connect. And there are multiple agent type of agents. Like this is a conversational agent we have built. You can also build something like a recommendation engine, which can be helpful in terms of your e-commerce or even if the content website based on the user preferences. You can also set those data sets and saying, okay, if user is watching this kind of content, I want to recommend this kind of content. This is the content I want to recommend, and so on. So that all things you can build, and then how you publish it's very easy. Just single click on publish agent. It will give you an option where you can actually kind of create an pop out or side panel like a chat bar, and it will give you embed code, HTML embedding that you can just embed on your website. So practically, like if you go through the lab, it won't take more than an hour to build this agent if you have the data ready. And it's very simple, easy, no code. I mean, you don't have to kind of have that backend knowledge of coding Python and so on. You can actually use this console and build everything. You can also customize the look and feel of the agent. I mean, it will give you the thing where you can change the background color, the text fonts and the text colors and so on. So to make it look more native to your brand, let's say if you have a website and you have certain brand guidelines, you can follow that and build that agent and then integrate it. It also in the in one of the things where we saw what we can actually use the website as a data source. That's very interesting. So we have built use cases where a lot of website has a knowledge base and also support and help document, which are like some hundred and thousands of links. Instead of that, you can just use the main URL, let's say support.xyz.com. It will actually scrap all the sub URLs, scrap all the information given in that particular URL, and then it will train itself on that URL. So anything that you ask about that website or anything within that URL or end domain, it will be able to answer you. So you can actually build a support chatbot within an hour without kind of building anything. Because normal support session will have like basic search. This will be more of like conversation where you can actually ask saying, okay, how do I do this? And if it is somewhere on like third link in some one paragraph, it will actually find that information, give it to you along with the link. So if you want to know more, you can also give that information. Okay, if you want to know more about this, click on this. It will actually take you to that particular link. So and then you can ask follow-up questions on top of it. So that's also very easy and easy use case. And you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to create a database or data set or something like that. You just have to give that URL. That's it, and it will train by itself. A lot of companies I know have built this support chatbot because using only that one thing. And it takes only 20 minutes to do that because in that case you don't have to kind of think about the data sets as well. So yeah, now we can actually kind of embed it, and it can be like embedded on a website, and or you can just create a landing page and put it on there. All right, so yeah, that's about it. I mean, this is all the reference code. You can probably, I've already shared the link with you, right? So you can have in detail look at some codes which are given and notes which are there. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, this is the major code lab. This is how it will work. This is how it will look. And then if you want to do some advanced thing, change some code, you can actually go to app.py web file and create a custom, try to create a new file and give some custom information that you want, or code it in the way you want. You can use it in Cloud Shell. If you want to try hands-on through code, you can do that as well. Open the same agent in the Cloud terminal and then uh, just try to work on the code. So this is what they have given. I mean, as of now, we're not looking at this because we are not using any IDE as of now. We are doing everything in the console. But if you want to kind of, take this agent code into VS Code and try to kind of play around with it, you can do that as well. So yeah, that's about it. And then there are a lot of different links which are in between, which are given into the lab, like the documentation. If you want to know more about it, you can also have a look at the documentation where it will give you some more detailed information, and also basic concepts of agent, the AI agent concept. So if you want to know more about it, you can go to this link as well. Gemini Code Assist, again, it's mostly used like a co-pilot and help you write code better. If you want to have a look at it, there are a link which is part of this code lab. You can have a look at it. If you have missed out that link, this is the link. I mean, this is a code lab link, or the QR code. Just have a note of it. You can try again this at home, where you will have more time to go through each step and understand more about it. I just wanted to kind of show you the capability, that how easily you can build the agents. And now, since it's all about agents this year, everyone is talking about the agents. This is, I think, one of the great tools that you can use to quickly build agents and try to prototype or even make it live within a day or two. So that's the idea about this code lab. Uh, Anything else you want me to ask? I mean, or you have any questions? Let me know.
Agent will be there,
Yes,
or only one agent will
there
be
could be
there?
multiple agents within the finance as well. Yeah.
Then what is the like Chat GPT was generic? What is the use of having so many agents like that?
So see, the idea of agent came out because they wanted to have a specialization. For example, if you use ChatGPT, it will give you any very generic answer. It will not have. So if, let's say, if you want to build an advanced AI model on your data within your organization, let's take an example of HR. Now, every organization will have a different HR policies, right? Now, if I want to use that agent for my employees, or the chat GPT will not know the policies, HR policies of my organization. But so we usually build this, we call it a RAG based solution, where you take any open source LLM, ground it with your own information, and then build your own LLM or your own chat GPT, I would say, in that sense, right? That you can do with the RAG solutions. I mean, you can build the RAG on top of any LLM and build that solution. Again, that becomes a very only informative, right? It's LLM, so it will only give you the information. So let's say, what is the leave policy, for example. It will give you the leave policy, but can you apply for the leave? No, you cannot apply for the leave, right? Through the chat GPT or any LLMs. But here you can build a workflow where we can actually say, okay, how many leave balance have? Let's say you have 3 leaves as a balance. You can actually apply for that leave, and you can also set a process in the backend where it will either be auto approved, or it will go for an approval to HR or whoever is your manager, and then if he approves, it will be automatically approved. So the workflow can be entirely automated. That's the agent is all about, and that's what agent means. And that's the term that we use. But otherwise, the idea for agent is to perform a task and not only give you information. Wherein all the LLMs like Gemini or ChatGPT, all they only give you the information or whatever they know or whatever the information they be provided.
Like if you take the late term, like agent is nothing like similar to automation. Then both are different, or it
Yes.
is the same like fine
Yeah.
quoted word for the AI.
I mean, yeah, to an extent, yes. But if you do only automation, it will follow a certain rules or a flow. Like in automation, usually we do a flow diagram where it's okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It will be automated. Now here in this case, because it's AI and LLM, you don't have to follow that particular sequence. You can actually kind of train it like in a way you want, and also it's a conversational. So usually in automation, we do is workflow automation, which basically the program that works in the backend. There is no user interaction to it. So maybe scheduling an email, for example, is a very basic automation. But let's say if I have to schedule an email and through an agent, probably what I'll do is I'll ask agent schedule an email to, let's say, my director at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. and these are the points I want to mention into the email. It will actually draft an email and schedule it at 3 p.m. So that's the advanced capability of LLM that we bring into the agent apart from the automation.
Okay, thank you.
So can we create our own custom functions for taking questions like where is my order? The customer
Yes.
asks that.
Yeah, you can actually create, you can have a real-time feed. We saw that option where the data source is there. You can actually have a real live stream of data, and based on that data, you can actually fetch that and give that information.
Let's say we don't have access to the data, but only the fetch API for it's what max we can make. Can we do that as well?
You don't have access to the data.
The database, the core database, is something that we don't have access to.
But you will need some sort of access to the information right, that you want to
we
provide.
have a, let's say, a fetch API
that's
call.
fine.
Can we make a fetch API call and get the?
Yes, you can stream that data
Uh-huh.
through real time. Like say if it's a live, like order is something which will be updated frequently, the status, right?
Correct.
So you can feed that data. That's possible.
So feed the data as in like I want, let's say, the company sends the data back to ShipRocket, and now I want to.
So you can take it to the. You can have ShipRocket API integrated in your system, and you can fetch the real-time status from the ShipRocket API.
So basically, I can write that custom function and get that.
Yes.
So how easy is it to integrate here? As in, like,
not very difficult, honestly. If you have the right set of data that you require, because see, end of the day, the idea about having the Gemini or what is the backend is that you just give that information.
Correct.
The Gemini will process and understand what does that JSON call that you're making and the response you're getting means, and based on that, it will actually draft a sentence saying, okay, your order status is this, and it is expected to be delivered, let's say, at this point of time, and as of now, at this time, current status is in transit or whatever. So that part will be taken care by the Gemini.
So basically, all we have to do is just ask that this is the parameter we need to ask. So what is your order ID in this case, and the agent will handle the rest of the rest.
Correct.
Understood. Thank you.
I do have one question from
Sure.
business side. So,
Sure.
how much effort and time we can save? Because normally, for AI developers, they are developing it from scratch, right? If we introduce this in a pipeline for any customer project, right, where we are developing chatbots using AI,
Yeah.
how much timeline and effort we are saving over here?
I mean, I would say so difficult. I mean, I'll give my example. What the difficult of the agent that we have built is 3 days.
Okay.
Complex. Easiest one you can build in 1 day, 1 hour. Like we saw something like FAQ based chatbot or informative chatbot where you have the information ready. You just want to build like Q&A based chatbot. Like it takes 15-20 minutes. I mean, we can do it now also, right? So maybe from development it will save a lot of time, at least what I have seen, because see, we used to build chatbot earlier using Dialogflow and Yellow, and there are a lot of the companies who were there, right, where we had to do the entire workflow, like, so we call it the VUI, voice user interface, in terms of the conventional chatbot if we build building, or even in terms of normal chatbot we have to define the workflow, the flow of the conversation, how it will go. You can still do that in Dialogflow where you like say, okay, how is the welcome, if it's the user says this, like if else kind of a tree that you build. Say if user asks for this, it doesn't have the information, take to this and all. So all that entire workflow that now we know to build, because then AI, it understands by itself, it learns by itself, it knows that okay, this is a question that I've asked. And in the backend, you already have the logs of saying, okay, what that is the conversation has happened. You can take that as a transcript, again train to AI using the transcript. All that is possible. So yeah, I would say from development point of view, it saves a lot of efforts and time for sure. And yeah, that's the benefit, and you can have the complex problem built in a few days or a week maybe.
Thank you.
In fact, there is something called the agent space of the Google product we just announced last week, the Cloud Next, and so it works very natively. It's like an enterprise solution right now. So what it does is the agent space has a built connectors within the Google plus third party. So let's say if you are using Slack or if you are using Jira, now you want to integrate the Jira with your workspace and your agent. So you have your documents, which is part of your drive, your emails, and then Jira. So it will take everything from different sources and give you one single uh, interface where you can interact with all this kind of information which are there. So it can be Jira, it can be Slack, or it can be Box, or it can be Microsoft SharePoint. and so on. So you can connect all these different platforms, even Salesforce, for example, even they have built a connector for Salesforce. So you can build that, integrate with your emails, integrate with your Drive, and it's out of the box solution. You don't have to build anything. I mean, you just have to integrate integrate those connectors. They call it connectors, different platforms connector with your agent, and it will start working seamlessly without putting any development efforts to it. No, this is build part of the Gemini. So if you want to build your own model, there is uh, there is something called the model garden where you can actually if let's say you want to go with this solution, but you want to build something of your own similar to this, like a RAG solution we call. You can use model garden, choose any open source model. There are all like Llama or Gemma or different kinds of models available. You can choose any model and build on top of it, and still deploy on Google Cloud, GCP. You can check it model. In fact, you want to try some hands-on, like if you're a developers and you want to try to build, you don't want to use something like this, which is out of the box solution. If you do build your own agent, like through the coding, you can actually try Model Garden, which is again Google's platform, part of GCP. And there are different models which are available. We also didn't see there are, we saw that option of create your own agent, but there are also pre-built agents which are like, you can explore that as well. There are some ready out of the box agents available. You just click and connect your data source and it will start working. So you don't even have to follow all these steps. So that is also one option that you can have a look at. Agent space is very new. It's still enterprise, but I mean, that's where you work with other third party platforms and connect that with your agent, like Slack or Jira or Salesforce and so on. So if you want, like your questions, what you want to build, connect through some external third-party APIs, you can actually do that in that case. Any more questions?
I think
we have time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be here around, so you can take some questions offline.
If that's an entry music for me, it's very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. A big round of applause for Rushabh. Okay. So, apologies that we could not take any more questions. We have a networking session. We have a tea break, and we also have a longer networking session at the end of the meetup. So let's connect there and ask the questions there as well. The next speaker we have on is Robin Ranjan. He is a senior business analyst at GeekyAnts. Please give him a round of applause.
Hey, hi everyone. As you know, my name is Robin. I'm a senior business analyst in GeekyAnts. And thank you, Rusha, for that wonderful session. And this is my first meetup, and also this is my first meetup as a speaker as well. So I think it was a very great practical session, and I will dive you guys into some theoretical knowledge now, some gyans flowing all over. So get ready. And so today I will be speaking about API banking. So how API banking is moving from a tech essential part to become a business priority, right? So this is my QR, and I guess this is the fourth or fifth. I don't know which number of QR code it is. So you can scan it, and this is my LinkedIn profile. It will be great. We can connect, and let's move ahead. Okay. So I think people are scanning. I'll wait for a few seconds. Done. Cool. Okay, so this term is not new for everyone because I believe everyone is from a tech background, and those who are not from tech background, they also have heard about this. If you guys are in IT industry, what is an API, right? So API full form is an application programming interface, right? It creates a bridge between a front end and a back end, right? where the backend developers, they develop the APIs, and the front end developers, they take that API, whatever the UI screen they have developed, they integrate it with help of those APIs, right? So that we can have a clear connection from the database, right? Think it as of a like in a restaurant, when a customer orders a food, right? There is a waiter who takes the order, right? And then the waiter goes with that particular request, goes to the chef. The chef creates that menu, whatever the menu the customer has ordered, and the waiter comes back with that particular food, right? And the customers enjoys it, right? That's an API, right? It's a very simple layman term API definition, right? In technical terms, it's very safe to define that API is a collection of rules. It's a protocols and tools that allows distinct software solution to communicate and perform a series of tasks, right? So this is what API is, right? Now, why I'm talking about API, right? So the next slide, what is API banking, correct? So API banking is a software, right, that allows users to access financial services within a non-tech software solution that allows business that is not part of fintech industry, but they are not a financial institution as well, to provide a diverse financial services within the apps or platform, right? So how it works? So they will have a certain third parties and they will be integrating them with their own applications. That is called banking APIs, right? They will take requests from their own applications for the customers which they are providing. They will take the response from the banking service provider that are being held by the third parties. Okay. So this is what API banking is. Now let's dive into some use cases of API banking to understand how this API banking works, right? So we have a company called as Solaris, right? So they are the largest banking API provider in their region. I think they are in Europe. And these services include banking as a service solution with full banking licenses they are having, right? They have a very big client named Samsung. I hope you guys are using their phones. You guys have heard about them, right? So they are not a financial institution, as you guys know, right? And they don't hold any banking licenses, right? But still, they have a wallet system, right? Where the customers, they use their wallet, they transfer their money, right? They store that money and they use it for different purpose. So from being a different industry, right? How are they using the financial services, right? So they were using their solution, or the feature was called as Samsung Pay. Now it's called Samsung Wallet. I think the people who are using Samsung phones right now, they will have that feature. So using the wallet, the customers can have a secure digital wallet that allows them to store data, do payments, right? Do every financial transactions and everything using that wallet, right? Now, how is it possible, right? So the question is, how is it possible that a company without a license offers banking services while a company with a full banking services, right? So this is how it's done, right? So this is a quite use case of a API banking, where what Samsung has done is they have integrated the Solaris company, right? Their APIs, what they are providing, they have all the licenses. So whenever they receive an application, right, from a customer to request to open a bank, right, bank account, right? So the customer, whenever they are requesting, they may also not know which bank they are opening their account, right? So based on whatever the bank integrations or the bank that Solaris APIs are providing, they have collaborated with. Within those banks, they will take the response from the bank and they will create the customer bank account within those particular wallet of Samsung, right? Now, for verifying, obviously, we have the API's key and also the data exchange by reading the data from the bank or performing action or for opening a bank account is one of the examples that I have spoken about, right? So once the bank processes a request, the banking API sends a response indicating if it is a success or a failure based on the various criteria that the bank has set, right? And then once it's passes the next step, then the request goes back to Samsung wallet, which is also shown to the customer. So this is a typical example or a use case of how a non-financial application or a non-fintech business uses a fintech solution by help of any third-party fintech solution providers, right? And in the flow diagram also you can see the various text that is written. It's in a flow diagram where you can see the customer raises a request, it goes to a decision point where it's yes or no. If it is no, then it is invalid. It shows the invalid process, and if it is yes, then it goes to the Solaris bank system, and then the open bank account processes the request, send response to the Samsung wallet, and then the result is shown to the customer. Yeah. So let's move so this is a conclusion. So how the company like Samsung, as I told, right, uses this solution with Solaris. So through API integration, it provides a very good opportunity or option. And in India, I think this kind of solution is given by Razorpay, right? Razorpay is there where many applications like my whatever projects that I'm involved in, and where we have multiple non-fintech applications where users have wallet system, they have payment integrations inbuilt in their application. They want to develop those things, right? So we always use Razorpay is a very good platform that provides it, and also with all the services, it's very fine and it's very easy to integrate also the APIs. I hope people who have worked with Razorpay APIs and with Razorpay services, they know about it. And next is so there is a very thin line, like people get confused between API banking and open banking, right? They are different, right? I used to think they are not different, but they are different. There is a very thin line between API banking and open banking. So let's see what the difference is. So we'll figure out first, let's see what is the focus of both the terms, right? So API banking, they focus on the technical aspect of using API, and open banking is something where they take the consent from customer and from the banking, or so for any third party, say any non financial application, right, that wants to see the customer data from the banks that is stored, right? They take the consent and the banks share those data through APIs to that particular institution or that industry or the application that is requesting, right? So what is the scope? So the scope for API banking is broader, and it includes both internal and external applications. And open banking is only specific applications where the data sharing is happening via API. What is the goal of these two? So API banking, it enables the communication and data exchange, and for open banking, it's provide innovation, competition, customer empowerment. Right? So a typical example would be a bank using APIs for internal processes, and then for open banking, third-party app accessing customer data through a bank's API. Right? Now, next is what is the business need of API banking, right? So using API banking, it offers users a real-time access to all the transactions and the application, thus forming a very cohesive ecosystem, right? Facilitate accesses to multiple application and prompts the development time. Also, it boosts connectivity, various transaction and financial account, allows more traffic to be the brand and more access to the customer data. It also lessens many administrative hurdles like checking credit worthiness and applying for loans and etc. So if you have seen any particular fintech application where you can check your credit score, right, and how they are checking the credit score, right? So they use this particular functionality where this terminology, that is API banking, through which you can go and you can check your credit worthiness in minute of seconds, right? More business use case where it provides opportunity to the business to generate more revenues by increasing customer reach, right? It also provides better reimbursement solution for business since they can use the payment products at lower cost, improve cash flow, and reduce fraud and increase control and visibility, right? Also during the fiscal management for customers, because of API banking, it can analyze all the finances coming in and coming out, right? And from the customer account, and it can provide and it can give you the data of how much you have spent and how much you can save, right? And that's a very good use. I think everybody needs that, right? At this moment of time. And also it's a very provides a very good account aggregation by putting various accounts into one place, so the customer don't need to log in to multiple accounts. They can just switch and they can just use it, right? So these are the business use cases of using API banking. Okay. Okay, let's deep dive into some technical discussion, right? So how API banking architectural diagram or a typical architectural diagram shows, right? So as you can see in the diagram, so we have different layers, right? The first is the presentation layer where it's the user interface, right? From where it goes to the middleware layer where all the business logics are stored, correct? Then we have the backend layer where the core banking services, basically within the banking services, whatever the criterias they have, the logics they have, the whatever the rules that they have created, it's stored in that backend layer itself. Then we have the integration layer where the integration is happening with the APIs, and then we have the APIs. So the different type of APIs that is, it's just an example, that is say payment API, then fraud detection API, account management API, and then KYC API. So these have a different layer where it is stored, and then it is passed to the API gateway. Within API gateway, the function happens, that is the authentication, authorization, the rate limiting, and also logging and monitoring the activities. These things happens. and then we publish the open banking APIs to the any fintech solution or any application that uses it. Right? So let's understand. So this is a typical diagram of a architectural diagram. So let's see what all protocols that APIs follows within the API banking, right? So it's a layered architecture, and in this layered architecture, the protocols that are used are listed over here. That is REST, SOAP, GraphQL, gRPC, and WebSocket. And if you can see in the diagram how the interaction is happening between all the protocols of the API. So this is how any API banking, typical API banking solutions or the services is provided. So I'll quickly move into the discussion about what kind of architecture structure is normally preferred in banking API, right? API banking. In modern API banking, microservices, I hope you all know about microservices and monolithic, right? So normally microservices architecture is preferred because in increasing preferred over monolithic architecture because it allows scalability, right? It allows flexibility, and also it's very easy in order for the development and managing complex banking solutions, right? But still in some of the I would say legacy, right? I'm just moving into the next slide quickly. Why some of the legacy fintech application that has been developed say about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they still use monolithic architecture. But the preferred one is always microservice because of the independent services that the microservice provide, and it's very easy to develop, deploy. Then the API communication is also very well defined, well structured, and it's also improves the agility of any functionality within those particular architecture. But there are, as I said, some use cases, some cases where normally clients we have dealt, we have also dealt with some enterprise client where they don't want to change the architecture because it's a whole lot of hustle for them and also a big effort that it's there. But some of the legacy system has monolithic architecture, and it's all in the old banking systems. And the best example is if you have seen our own banks, right? SBI, CBI, Central Bank of India, and all, they all have this monolithic architecture system within their particular application. So whatever the digital application you interact with them. Right? So also monolithic is also preferred for any small fintech solution if you want to build, right? Because creating a microservice kind of architecture, it needs time, it needs effort, right, in order to set up each and everything. But monolithic is very quick. Uh, for any simple banking application with limited functionality, monolithic is something that normally the business team or the development team they prefer it, right? Here's a small example of a diagram where how user request, how it goes to a architecture monolithic application, data access, how it interacts with the database, then the response comes, and then again it goes to the user. Right? Okay, now since we are talking about API banking, so nothing is perfect, right? There will be challenges, right, in every implementation or every technology that is coming, right? So let's discuss about 10 challenges that I figured out. It's there in the API banking domain, and also the solutions that can be there, right? So the first challenge is obviously security and compliances, right? Since a fintech is a very growing field at the moment, right? If you are following the news and everything in UAE region, right? Fintech is growing a lot. So lot of business owners, they are moving towards developing some solutions in the UAE region, and also because of some I think they have got some permissions from the government also to allow having the fintech solutions for their own public, right? But in India, so India is a leader in fintech domain, and many clients, and it's a best example, right? The UPI, right? We are not using any currency note, right? At the moment, everyone is using phone. So India is a leader in the fintech domain, and also this API banking solution is also, that is something that is coming from India as well. So it's a good and proud moment for Indians to be leaders of the world in the fintech, and many people around the world, they are looking for coming to India for the fintech solutions and implementing it in their own countries, right? So let's come back to the challenges, the security compliance. How to mitigate these challenges is to implement the HTTPS and then OAuth and JWT token for secure communications, then ensuring that everything is under the compliances, and fintech projects are too much heavily dependent on the compliance part because nothing can be developed or deployed without any compliance check. It's a very strict thing, and it also requires a lot of research and efforts, and So one of my past experience of developing a say we were developing a lending application, right, for for a client, right, and based on developing that lending application, we use I like personally I have to go through last 10 years of RBI rules and everything what they have listed down to in order to get the correct compliance list. And also there are like 30 to 40 licenses that any business owner needs to apply and get that in order to launch a fintech application in India. So imagine that's like in fintech domain, launching an application is very tough. So compliance plays a very crucial part. And same goes with any other country or any other region. And also regularly updating the security measures, right? Because it's a fintech, right? Finance are involved. Any bug, anything that's hampering, it's a big loss for anyone. So yeah. Second is the data accuracy and reliability. So using correct data validation, cleansing it, transformation processes is something that we can mitigate in this. And then standardized format of to accommodate different bank data structures. So data structure is also a very big challenge because say if any enterprise or any old banking system has come to us for having their banking system to evolve or say introducing any new solution, right? So the data structure that they have used in their legacy platform, say around 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's very like normally it requires a lot of effort for any new development team to just first check that, understand those things, and then either you revamp those data or the codes that are written in the structure and then integrate it or then keep on go with the development in order to introduce those features. So data accuracy and reliability is a big challenge. Second is the scalability and performance, right? Now it's also one of the challenge because normally whatever the solutions in fintech that we build, right, we need to keep in mind that whatever we are building, it needs to be scalable because with the evolve of technology, anything can come, right? If you guys have noticed, as in our previous thing, Rushabh has also shown us, right, how to create agents, right? I've not seen any agent coming into fintech domain right now because of the data privacy, because of the structure and the performance issue, right? So maybe it can come in next 5 years, but right now fintech domain are registering using AI everywhere. So if you see AI anywhere in the fintech applications, it will be mainly for say chatbots, not giving you any kind of suggestions around the I think there are some applications that are getting developed where it can suggest how much you have saved, how much you can invest and all, but it's very difficult, right? Say let's take an example of stock market, right? Stock market, if we have a AI solution, it will be so easy for the people to learn about stock market and also analyzing the trend and everything. So there are some solutions that are getting built, but it's not live right now. It's for the people who are building it because it's a very different domain where everyone has a different mindset of investment, have a different strategy. To build a AI bot or an agent in order to get that data set, in order to first start off with, it's also very difficult. So yeah, I think that it can be a future right now, but it's not at the moment and present. Then we have vendor selection and collaboration. This is also an operational challenge where we need to, whenever we are developing anything, right, we need to access the vendors' technical capabilities, security, and reliability because anyone does a data leak, it's a big risk for any fintech application. So it's a very challenging thing, and also need to establish a clear communication and the expectation of the frameworks that we are collaborating with the vendor, right? In this way we can mitigate this. And also standardizing the particular format of the what the work is, right, the project is all about. So I think there is a open banking APIs for ISO 20022, and they have created a list of rules that needs to be there, and it also follows other industry standards to smooth the integration across different systems. Let's move to the monitoring and error handling. So whatever the solutions we are building within the API banking needs to have a real-time monitoring tool. So that whatever the integrations, the APIs, whatever has been integrated, the codes that has been written needs to be monitored all the time so that if there is any bug, any security attack, cyber attack, that can be mitigated immediately, right? Also, a robust error handling mechanism is also to ensure high availability of it, and also continuous integration, agile development, right? So we know that everything changes so fast, right? So in fintech domain, also this continuous integration and agile method is something. It's a bit of challenge over here So in order to mitigate this, like we need to automate the CI/CD pipelines, right, to enable iterative improvement and rapid issue resolutions. And also the fintech, many of the fintech solutions has been built on a waterfall method. So if you guys know what waterfall is, where we don't go back, right, whatever is defined needs to be developed and then we need to deploy it. So many fintech solutions, maybe the upcoming fintech projects that I'm handling right now, we are seeing a agile method approach where we are doing a POC, then we check the solution. If it is working, then we build it. If it is not working, anything changes, expectation changes, we move back, we again build it from scratch. So I think that method, that approach is right now the fintech domain is accepting it. Data privacy and consent management is something, it's a very important thing where we need to implement a consent management. So every fintech application, wherever you go, you will see a consent management form. You need to give your consent that the application will take your data, use your data, and it will share the data, right? So better you read those consent form. It's a long form, I know many people skip it, but you read it thoroughly, because you will find many things over there where the data is getting shared. So better you read that. And it also enforces a strict data privacy policy to comply with regulations and also maintain customer trust, right? So if you see in any consent form it is sharing data apart from the within the environment, do raise a customer account. In RBI has given a very good customer help in the finance sector, where you can go to their website, you can just raise a concern and they take it very seriously, right? So please do that if you feel any discrepancy. And also testing and validation, where we need to continuously test the solutions that we has been provided, so that it's securely integrated, it's functional, and it's performing at its best, right? And also validating the data accuracy to prevent any financial risk. The last thing is change management and organizational culture, right? So people who are from the business background, say from the project management side, or from the stakeholder side, or from development team as well, like change management is a curse, right? If people are having that particular, the people who are smiling, I think they will relate to it, that whenever we are developing something, then there is a requirement change, right? And then that's a thing that we need to again discuss, then we need to plan, and then we need to again implement, right? So a proper training, clear communication, and a stakeholder involvement is something that we can mitigate it. I know this can't be mitigated for a long time. It's something that will happen because things changes once it starts. So, but we can at least try to implement these things, so that before jumping into anything, everything is clear, everything is documented, and we have a proper project plan before doing anything, right? So also fostering a culture of innovation to ease adoption, right? So this is also a very good part, where innovation mindset, right, innovators mindset needs to be there for in order to bring new solutions in this particular domain. So yeah, these were the challenges and the solutions that we discussed. Let's talk about some market analysis of API banking. So there are four market solution providers who have given their data, right, about this API banking, how rapidly it is growing. If you can see the graph, right? So one of the market provider, that is Spherical Insights, have given that it will grow, this industry will grow from 20.35 billion to, in 2025 it was 20.35 billion, it will grow up to 140.45 billion by 2033, right? In 10 to 15 years this particular domain is growing. And even you can see many of the people, many domains, the business owners who are into different industry, they are moving towards fintech. As one of the example I said, right? Take a use case of UAE, right? Over there, if you go and if you scroll through their articles, news, many business owners are moving towards fintech. They want to build something. Say they want to build a vendor management system through fintech solution. They want to build something called same similar to what we have built, right? Some like Google Pay. So these are the examples are there. And there is a reason why it's growing, and why we have the market analysts have expected or forecasted this particular metrics, correct? And I will soon discuss about the reasons. So these are the key drivers why it is a big market right now. So obviously, because the increase of smartphone adoption, right? Everyone has smartphone. People who don't have smartphone, I think they live in jungle, I guess, because everyone is using smartphone and people are using digital banking, and everyone is associated with the fintech solutions that are there, right? Then bank app popularity. So increasing of popularity of bank app fuels. So if you guys have noticed from last 2 to 3 years, right? I don't know if you guys were using ICICI Bank iMobile app. 3 or 4 years ago, right? It was a very bad user experience, very bad UI. It was there, like if you click something, it will take years to get the page to be refreshed and then giving us the solution. But check the ICICI Bank iMobile application right now. It's so robust. Why they have done that? Because they have seen the popularity of their applications, right? If because this is the younger generation, right? The generation who are coming into the market, who are coming into the job field, right? From last 5 to 6 years, everyone is on smartphone. Everybody, nobody wants to go to bank actually. Everyone wants their bank on their fingertip, right? So that is the reason they have they have enhanced the user experience. They have created new solutions, new workflows into their application. And it is not only with ICICI Bank. You check any bank, SDFC, apart from SBI. I don't know why they are not doing it, but maybe apart from I am fed up of SBI Bank and they force you, people to come to their bank, but I think they should adopt it and they should at least come to the private sector for that solution, because maybe they are giving it to the government. It's not happening, but all the private national banks are there, like ICC Bank, SDFC Bank. They have a very good applications and very good user experience. Also, because of fintech partnership between fintech companies and traditional banks also are boosting a very big growth in the API banking market, right? Uh, Typical use case that we discuss about the Samsung and the Solaris. So that's an example. Well, thank you. Thank you for your patience, and I'll take a questions. Yeah.
You are like tree structures. And other thing you mentioned about caching. Caching in which layer you are doing and what you are using for each different layer. Could you be more verbose on this one?
Correct. So, to be very honest, the caching and the data layer structure, right? It's something that I would be able to answer it if I know it in depth, right? I know the business part of it, how to deliver it. So, but I would love to discuss with you after, I think in our one-on-one session after this. Let's discuss it over there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any questions related to business? So I will be happy to answer it. Yeah.
For example, if we use Razorpay, it charges 4 to 5% of convenience fee. So if we use this API banking, so it will also affect like 4 to 5% convenience fee will deduct or what?
So what Razorpay uses, you need to understand. Razorpay is also, so API banking is a concept. It's a term, right? So what Razorpay gives, Razorpay also provides API, right? So it's a part of that particular concept of API banking. So it differs. Like some company that is a competitor of Razorpay, right? So for example, let's take Stripe. Stripe is a used internationally, right? So it differs, like competitor to competitor, what needs to be there. Maybe similar to Razorpay, there are some competitors that are there who can charge you less, right? So that it can attract more customers, right? So in that way, like we can beat that particular term. Okay. So API banking is not a technical term. It's a concept that is used from, that was the essential and technical part, and it's a very good use in the business aspect as well. I hope I answered your question, right?
More question.
So API was a very new term, and there's a surprise for you that I'm from SBI.
Oh, so sorry, so sorry.
No. Let me tell
I
you
hope you
the.
will not dissolve my
No. We
account.
are having a very constructive decision here and discussion, so we should
Yeah,
cooperate to each other.
yeah.
First thing is API and whatever is done in SBI is outsourced to
Okay.
Apex.
Mhm.
So we are not the person to be blamed. It is
Yeah,
outsourced,
yeah,
and
I
many
know.
IITians are doing it.
Correct,
So I
correct,
think there is something going on with them that they have to fix it. We keep on routing up the complaints. All the answer we get is too many clients. It's a
correct,
too much load for your app to deal with, and you're having very much of a transition of people from natural local banking to digital.
correct.
So वो दिक्कत है, to
Correct.
be
I know, I
honest.
know. I
Okay.
know, I know, I know,
So
I
वो
know about that
नहीं, I'm
solution.
saying this why
Yeah.
because we are also fed up now. कि
Yes. Yeah.
you tech people are saying like this कि SBI की गलती है, but I don't think it's our fault. It's the outsourcing company who has to deal with it, which is Apex. You can Google it, you can complain them, and please leave us.
Fair
So
enough. Fair enough.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree the service quality is going on, but we are investing on AI. Recently, we have come up with this project called SIA, which is into intelligent unit for complaints and everything. Somehow we are there. So kindly be nice to us.
Correct. Finger crossed.
And
Yeah.
my question is that when you are talking about API, and there is a lot of regulation with RBI. So I'm into forex transaction right now. So I'm in the dirty business wherein we get the global complaints also, and the internal is no one to say about. When API is there and it is outsourced and there are regulations with RBI, but you say that you do not follow such kind of policy or regulations of RBI, right?
No,
As if,
no, we follow. We follow.
okay, so
Without
when,
following, if it is released also
hmm,
without following, it will be sacked. The
hmm,
recent example is Savvy
yeah,
that got sacked, right?
hmm,
Even RBI sacked Razorpay also
yes,
few months ago because of the some of the criteria or licenses it was lagging, right?
hmm.
So Paytm
So
also great example.
yeah,
Paytm,
Paytm is one
Paytm
of the,
outsourcing. Paytm banks are not there anymore because of that fact. So,
yeah. So
yeah.
that's what I was confused, that if you're saying that we don't need licenses, but we are into banking,
No,
and
correct. Yeah.
it was little confusing for me being
No,
a core
what,
banker.
correct. So what I meant to say is, for example, let's say, let's take an example. Say, which phone you are using right now?
iPhone.
iPhone you are using, right? I know Apple Pay is not there in India, but it's there outside, right?
Hmm.
Apple, what is the industry of Apple? It's a mobile development company or a software company, let's say.
Hmm.
It's not a fintech company, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Then how Apple Pay is working,
yeah. That's
correct? It's using some third party. So
hmm.
that's what I meant.
Hmm.
Taking an
So
example of Solaris and Samsung.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So maybe like SBI, right? So for example, I'm not sure if SBI or any other banks who are giving outsourcing their APIs to the, I think ICC banks are doing, private banks are doing it, right?
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
very honest, and government banks are doing or not, I'm not sure at that
They
level.
are doing it, but with
Uh,
lot of regulations and
correct,
to follow up the
correct,
things to
correct.
the norms of RBI.
Correct. Now they are sharing the data and everything. So any outside business owner who has a different kind of business running an application, if
Hmm.
they want SBI APIs, they can take it, obviously with all the rules and
All the
regulations. So
yeah.
that is like API
So
banking
it's
and everything.
kind of an extension of banking
Correct.
business, but
Extension
then
of banking. Correct.
thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Robin. Okay. So before we move on to the break, I would love to show you something. Okay. Ah, Bangalore. It's never been like this. First time I'm sweating in a meetup. So please bear with me. I know the temperature is a bit hot today. The signal is not working. Okay. Source detected. Yes. What will pop up? Flipboard? Okay, awesome. So everybody, I had mentioned about the GeekConf initially before we got started, and this is the after movie. It is just 5 minutes long. I'll play it right after I explain it so that you guys can have tea and watch it at the same time. But just wanted to remind you that we have an exclusive discount going on. So if you could just if you can scan it, you can register for yourself. Many of you might have already scanned it. So yeah, I'll just keep it there, and the flyers already have the scanner. That's me. Okay. So yeah, here is the after movie, and now we'll break for tea. It will be for 10 minutes. Okay, and yeah, this is the first networking session. Let's chat. If you want to meet me, I'm just there around on the tables there, and you can just meet me. Come say hi. The speakers are also here. You can talk to them as well and talk to each other. And after this, we have two more talks, and at the end, then there's another longer networking session. Okay, so yeah, break time starts now.
Hi, I'm with Carmen. And so, first of all, how are you?
I am great. I am having the best day today. Everyone is so positive. Everyone is so inviting. Everyone is so inclusive. It's been incredible. I've learned so much today. Gave a talk today about complex dependency management strategies. I had a wonderful time on stage. What a great crowd.
I miss Indian food, by the way. We should have tikka masala. I love it.
All right. Have Siddharth, and Siddharth is now going to take the stage. Please give him a big round of applause.
Okay, hi everyone. Hope everyone had a nice tea and coffee break. I'm going to be talking about unlocking financial inclusion. We mentioned beyond CIBIL there, but we essentially mean beyond any kinds of credit scores. CIBIL is the most popular one, hence the title. And how can we unlock it using everyday trust signals in India? Before we jump into that, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself and what I'm doing here. I am a credit product builder. I spent a couple years in the US working at a company called Credit Karma. Still work there as a senior product manager. I moved to India about 3 months ago. Uh, I am currently exploring India's unique position. So what I mean by that is there is a lot of momentum we're seeing with what is arguably the world's most ambitious digital finance infrastructure. But at the same time, we also have millions that remain locked out at the moment. So that is the unique position that I'm trying to explore more. Uh, Financial inclusion is a very broad term. It includes access to formal banking services that include insurances, savings, credit. We specifically, for the scope of this discussion, are only going to focus on credit inclusion. And then finally, I'm not an expert. I have about 3 or 4 goals with this presentation. The first is just sharing what I'm learning about how big the problem is, what the impact of the problem is. Secondly, the power of the unique rails that India has built. And then thirdly, the opportunities that I personally see that are emerging. And the final sort of side goal is to spark some valuable conversations and maybe like even inspire some of us in this room to tackle this complex problem. So jumping into the problem itself, the main problem that we're trying to tackle here is how our credit assessment systems create a fundamental paradox. So if you see the chicken and egg there, it's essentially if you want to access financial products, you need to have a credit history or a credit score. But in order to build a credit history or a credit score, you need to have financial products. This is something that has impacted each of us in some way, shape, or form when we were young. Still, many of us are young, but as soon as we started to apply for that first credit card or that education loan, I think all of us ran through the same problem. And this paradox exists across credit bureaus in the world. It is not something that is an India specific problem. All credit bureaus only calculate credit scores based on the data that is reported to those credit bureaus. But what makes it worse in India is most Indians do actually have very responsible financial behavior. I think a lot of us have grown up saving. We recognize the value of money. We have daily signals that actually demonstrate financial responsibility, which is very unlike other Western countries in the US, in Europe, for example. And that is the piece that like makes it worse or exacerbates it for India. Um, so that's the definition of the problem that we're going to try and solve or look in more detail. The impact of the problem is massive. Out of the 1 billion eligible Indians, the eligibility we define here is people that are in the age of 18 to 80. Only about 1/3 can access formal credit as of today. We have around 45 crore plus Indians that are underbanked and unbanked. That is the combined population of US, Canada, Australia, Netherlands. When we say unserved, we mean that they don't have access to any credit product whatsoever. When we say underserved, we mean that they have access to credit products, but they only have less than 2 credit products and the same type of credit product within their reports. So let's say someone with a credit card, a single credit card for the last 2 years, they fall in the underserved category as well. People that typically get excluded are broadly of two types. MSMEs are one of the favorite ones. And then we have a whole skew of individuals. Within individuals, we have urban poor, which are our informal workers, many of which we see across our cities. That includes gig workers, your maids, and so on. Youth, which is what like a lot of us went through, where we had what we used to call a thin file. Thin file credit report is when the bureaus or the lender does not have enough context about you to actually underwrite you with a lot of confidence. And youth is also another term for it is like new to credit. And then again, rural populations, which is, I think, very much a known problem. uh, why this matters, like the impact of this is that it is not just a social issue, it becomes an economic bottleneck. So for a lot of people, access to credit products or financial access is their means to escaping poverty and also building financial resilience. When we say financial resilience, we essentially mean resilience against unexpected shocks or emergencies. A lot of people might have medical health emergencies which constantly put people into poverty in India just because they're not resilient towards those shocks. Consumption is largely impacted. Lower access to credit has a direct correlation with lower consumption. Upward mobility for a lot of people, lack of access to credit actually becomes an inhibitor to upward mobility. What we mean by upward mobility? The ability to get an education loan. As soon as you get an education loan, you get an education, you mobilize yourself to another economic strata in the economy. And same with housing. And then finally, business growth is more catered towards the MSMEs that are struggling with the credit gap because it stifles job creation, innovation, and the ability for MSMEs to take more risks. So that is the scale or the impact. It also hinders national progress. It does not just impact individuals and businesses. The MSME credit gap specifically is a puzzle that multiple stakeholders are coming together to solve, and rightly so. Our current numbers are at like 50 trillion rupees, growing increasingly, and about 80% of MSMEs in India lack access to formal credit. We have around 6.3 or 6.5 crore MSMEs. So 80% of that don't have access to formal credit. If they don't have access to formal credit, naturally they rely on informal credit means. We have a lot of those. That is actually sort of bad mouth the name of lending in India. A lot of predatory lending companies have come up offering instant loans at rates which are rates that basically put you into debt traps because of how high interest they are. And on the economy itself, credit exclusion impacts about 1% loss of GDP per year, primarily because of lesser consumption and decreased MSME growth. I'm also happy to take questions in between if we have any, but I'll keep us going. So essentially, we spoke about what the problem is, the credit paradox, how large the problem is, and what the impact of the problem is. Now, I just want to switch gears and shed some light on what it is about India that makes me very optimistic. So we've taken a lot of good steps in the last 10 years. I tried to combine them into milestones essentially. 10 years ago, 2014 to 16 is where we set a lot of foundations in place. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about like the PM Jan Dhan Yojana, which is the scheme that allowed people to open up more banks, which if they did not have a bank account earlier. What this ended up doing is it opened the number that we're currently at is 54 CR. 54 crore people in India opened up this particular account, and who were previously unbanked now have access to a formal bank account. If you want to get to financial well-being and financial resilience, the first step is financial access, which is what like this particular scheme did. It also brought the total proportion of Indians that are banked from 53% in 2014 to 80% right now. Uh, the emerging India stack, I think we're all fans of it. Aadhaar, UPI, DigiLocker, that essentially helped set the groundwork for identity verification and easy payments, that which is a prerequisite for scalable finance. And then we also introduced a lot of support for MSMEs through Mudra loans, which are like your collateral free loans that still depend on your official CIBIL scores. So we'll get to that later. 2018 to 2020 is where we started tackling the data infrastructure foundation. We announced the account aggregator framework, essentially consent-based data sharing, which is something that's not been done before, at least at this time. Uh, Treads, I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but it is another MSME initiative that allows MSMEs to discount or finance their receivables invoices because the credit cycles are too long for MSMEs. So that is again an MSME focused initiative. And then we had the public credit registry that centralized all borrower info in one place. 2021 to 23 is the credit enablement era in my mind. We took really big strides with launching the Oaken framework. We'll dive into that later. And then 2024 and 2025 is where we are currently today, where we're really looking at alternative assessments for at least stratas or member cohorts that we cannot do anything else for unless we do alternative assessment in a way. I'll keep us moving. So the foundational pillar of where we are today is really the India stack. This is the infrastructure that enables everything else. The four sort of tenets here that I see personally is like Aadhaar that really opened up eKYC for us. UPI, which has had multiple good things come out of it. Apart from just peer-to-peer payments, it also acts as like one of the strongest source of data signals about digital financial footprints, and also facilitating like more seamless fund flow between peers, but also between banking and financial institutions and people. Uh, DigiLocker is like the digital document storage system that allowed us to again further streamline the overall verification that a lot of lending institutions require. And then finally, account aggregator is to me like the crucial secret sauce. Consent-based financial data sharing. This is something that because it is missing in other countries, I can give you an example of what we're trying to do at Credit Karma. It's one of our primary objectives is to make sure that people connect their accounts. Once people connect their accounts, we can unlock so much more financial guidance and assistance for them. But because there is no infrastructure in place in the US, that increasingly has become the bottleneck for us, which India sort of preempted and pre-visioned and developed. The second piece of the whole evolution that I wanted to focus on was the Oaken framework. So, if like you all have heard of the Oaken framework, how it essentially works is on the image on the right, you see a bunch of different players, right? Up until we had the Oaken framework, the lenders basically made sure that they were the data provider, the collection agent, and so on. And so, in order to lend scalably, they had to do good in each of those sectors or each of those functions. What the Oaken framework is trying to do is it is unbundling the whole lending value chain. It is requiring each person or each entity to become a specialized entity in their work, and then connecting all of them through open APIs. What this ends up doing is it firstly democratizes credit. There is a lower barrier for many apps and businesses to partner with lenders today. It reduces the cost of custom integrations. If let's say I am Zomato today and I need to start offering uh, loan products to my gig workers, I can directly plug into this framework and get access to hundreds of lenders that are part of the Ocean network or Oaken network without actually custom integrating with each of them. And then it has massively increased our reach also, because earlier the strands of the population that we weren't able to reach before, we can now target them as well. And then it unlocks new, more specific credit products, which we will also dive into. So I'll keep us moving. In terms of like a quick recap, we spoke about the problem. We walked through how India has built what is arguably like the world's most ambitious digital infrastructure. Now I just wanted to jump into the opportunities that I see emerging, which are really spread across three frontiers. Reimagining credit assessment, the ability to offer personalized financial products, and then distribute them in a way that is only possible today. So we'll focus on three frontiers that I think are important. Um, if you remember from a few previous slides, we spoke about who are the pieces of population that credit exclusion impacts. We spoke about urban poor, we spoke about rural populations and MSMEs. The frontiers that I've chosen to discuss today are mostly focused on urban poor. The reason for that is alternative assessment is something that we can do today for urban poor. This includes your youth, your thin file people, and your informal workers. And separately, the government is making a lot of steps to tackle the rural population and MSMEs. So that was the reason to focus on urban poor. Uh, the first frontier that I see is having the ability to develop supplemental trust scores. What data we can signal credit worthiness? We have financial transactions that are readily available today. We have bill payments and platform data that we can also plug in. Uh, and then for MSMEs, there's also business data and then digital footprint that we can also look at. Uh, this is the bare, this in my mind is like the bare minimum for alternative data that we can use to signal credit worthiness. And the opportunity here is to create trust scores of some kind using ML and AI on this consented alternative data. How this can act alongside credit scores is as a supplemental credit score. It can act for youth as an on ramp to the formal credit score or credit history sphere. And how how it makes our lives vastly simple is again account aggregator framework secures financial alternative data, and Oken allows us to do everything with open APIs. Just as an example, there are a bunch of companies across the globe that are trying to do alternative credit assessment. This is not something that we're suggesting for the first time. There's one of the most popular companies is Upstart, for example, in the US. Uh, Things are wildly more difficult for them versus for us, just because we have the infrastructure that is already in place in order to do alternative assessment and hyper specific lending on top of it. They've seen huge gains in terms of how many people can now access credit through alternative scoring. And that's something that we are trying to replicate here, especially given that we have the infrastructure in place. The second frontier, after you are able to do alternative assessment, is very hyper personalized vertical products, which was earlier not possible. Uh, we can now offer credit products for very specific needs that traditional lending has failed to address. So less than 10% of any retail credit goes to specific purpose loans. I picked two vertical products that made a lot of sense to me. We can jump into as many verticals, look at their alternative data, and create very niche financial credit and lending products that have not been possible before because of the digital public infrastructure and the open framework. So the first one here is education and upskilling. So these are essentially short-term financial, flexible financing for skills that eventually, again, upward mobilize people. Um, as of today, we see around close to 5 crore people try to upskill yearly. The number might be much higher in terms of the people that actually want to upskill, but cannot because of barriers that we have in place. Only 5% of them access formal loans. That includes people that might not need loans altogether. And again, for underwriting, Some of the things that you can consider using here is like verified enrollment, platform engagement with like Udemy, Coursera, etc., and employer endorsements all together to again create those niche lending solutions. On the other side, with healthcare emergency, the idea is really financing for medical emergencies and shock. 60% of the people in India lack health insurance, and more than 6 crore households face medical shocks annually. When we say shock, we mean that they were not resilient enough to completely ruin their financial standing because of that medical shock. And again, we have a lot of data that we can use today in order to underwrite very specific products solely for health emergencies. Example is like digital health records, insurance claim records, pharmacy patents, fitness app engagement, etc. Okay. So the last frontier that I personally see is embedded distribution. So historically, financial services or banks essentially have struggled to acquire customers just because there are many pieces in the lending life cycle that they have to, many functions that they have to perform. And each piece, like a supply chain, loses some amount of, there's some leakage across the whole value chain. Now with the Open framework, we are saying that lenders focus only on underwriting. Collections agents are separate. Loan service providers or loan agents are separate. Uh, Dispersal agents are separate. Each of them is specialized trying to do their own thing. You talk to each other using open APIs. And because we are able to offer credit products through this network, we can start embedding them into a lot of platforms where Indians are already very, very much digitally active. So the unique opportunity obviously is financial products remain disconnected from everyday digital experiences. When we say everyday digital experiences, we mean your Amazon, your Netflix, your Uber, etc. But the digital public infrastructure today allows us to do consent-based financial services at the point of need, rather than you going elsewhere. If we recognize that you have a need for a financial product, we come to where you are. And embedded finance again allows contextual delivery of credit and financial products. And what this essentially does is it reduces or increases the acquisition and distribution efficiency that was largely impossible before digital public infrastructure. So the infrastructure and Open together alter the distribution economics, and they unlock new customer segments that were also not possible to be served by lenders earlier. So essentially, lenders do want to lend more. Borrowers also want access to lending products, but we've always had this credit invisibility layer, despite having very strong everyday signals that show financial responsibility. I think that is the last slide, and yeah, the vision was just an ecosystem where our infrastructure and ethically use alternative data provide fair credit opportunities to millions more, not existing millions, but millions more is like the secret for me and MSMEs. Thank you. Any questions, feedback? Yeah. Yeah.
Formalizing this complete process would be what? Like, do you need to regulate this whole process with the existing financial leaders, which is the RBI or CBI, whatever you call it?
Yeah, great question. It was about like lenders currently rely on CIBIL,
Yeah.
and what would we need to do to have them rely on these supplement trust scores. I believe like as of today, we still have the means to do this alternative assessment. We can keep doing it in a room somewhere without essentially the lenders accepting it. So there would need to be a bridge between either certain NBFCs. The way that I envision is a lot of NBFCs that are willing to take that kind of risk will also be willing to consider these other kinds of alternative assessment scores. And we're nowhere are we saying that we want to replace credit scores. We want to create supplemental trust scores that we can provide, which credit bureaus do not have access to today. Credit bureaus look at your credit history based on 5 particular factors. As an example, I just turned 28. I am back in India for 4 months. I've been working a regular job, which is at Credit Karma. Uh, can anyone guess what my credit score might be? And for some context, I was in the US for 3 years. Before that, I had a credit card. And then I stopped using that credit card when I went to the US. So 3 years in US, 4 months since being back. Any guesses on what my credit score
Below
might be?
600?
Okay. Any other guesses? My income is decent.
No, but it depends. If you're coordinating your
Correct.
income here, the one you're earning in US, if it is reflecting here, then your credit score might vary. But if you're completely out of the market for 3 years, in Indian CIBIL scores are completely
Yeah.
based on Indian transactions, right? Or cross-border transactions are also there, but then how much have you
Right.
exposed yourself to that
Right. So
market?
that's a great point. One small clarification I would make is they're not based on transactions. They're based on credit activity only. So
And
credit.
how do you differentiate that?
So credit activity is, let's say I have a credit card or a personal loan versus I am on Google Pay and like I bought
Yeah,
a
so
piece of
I should
shoes.
have said it clearly that credit transactions,
Yeah,
whatever you
yeah.
do with the all the financial
Yeah.
institutions.
So my credit score on CRIF high mark is 18, and I don't have a CIBIL score at all. Despite having a lot of financial transactions, despite having solid income stubs, everything. So I think that's where the invisibility comes in. That the bureaus are not able to tell that I am a responsible, capable, eligible credit worthy sort of applicant. So to answer your question, I do think the way to approach this in my mind would be to go to certain NBFCs, show them the value prop that you'd be able to access a lot more borrowers that you were earlier not able to access, and we through our models will confirm the risk that these are good borrowers. They're just not good borrowers in the minds of credit bureaus because they have one set of lens through which they examine borrowers. There are many more sets of lenses that you can use to examine borrowers.
Specifically, the young borrowers are facing this a lot of problem that
Yeah, youth.
let's say education loan, let's say some kind of skilling up
Exactly.
loans. We end up getting this kind of feedback that you're rejecting all the loans, but the problem is that you have to follow
It's not in your
the
hands.
troubles of every stage. And
Right.
somehow in the life cycle, you end up in some fourth stage and then you're not able to
Yeah.
get it. We
And
also want this kind of thing. We are in discussion, but that's a good one, I would say.
yeah, and I think like the more painful piece here is like when someone is applying for an education loan, they're likely 18 or 22, depending on whether it is like a master's or an undergrad loan. That is when they are hit with the higher interest rate. Not someone that is like in their mid 30s earning like 70, 80 lakhs a year and is able to sort of take in that extra interest rate hit. That's the piece that like sort of boils something inside me. But yeah, I think the way that I would approach it is like partner with NBFCs, show them the value. And I do think that like a fair number of NBFCs do see the value in this because you vastly increase the member pool that they were earlier not able to access. Many other questions? Yeah.
See the products in this space and how they can really reach the truly underserved. I'll give you one statistic. Sure, we have achieved financial inclusion to some extent using UPI, but even to get a ration card, for example, in UP, that takes on average 66 days. So, how can we as builders build products that actually reach the bottom of the barrel, basically?
Yeah, I think great question and great problem to solve in general. One of the pieces that we did talk about is like the distribution piece. Again, this distribution piece only makes sense for urban poor in general because they are on Zomato, they are on Swiggy. So I do think wherever we can, we should at least leverage embedded finance. Wherever we can't, we would need to figure out if there is like a phygital way to get access to those kinds of people. So that is where like the hybrid physical digital approach might come in handy. Like to your point, when we looked at like the five, I'll just take a second. And so the five segments here, right? Now rural populations is like one big piece. I don't think you can hope or expect embedded finance to work for rural populations. There might be certain things that right now they might use. Maybe Google Pay is one example. I went to my hometown in Rajasthan, which has 2,000 people, but it still had QR codes. So embedded finance can probably unlock more than we realize or think. But I cannot discount the fact that we might need some kind of like physical plus digital approach in order to bridge that last mile. Yeah. Yeah, great question. So I'll just, sorry, I'm forgetting where my slides are. So you see these multiple steps on the right? As of today, or before the Open network, a lender had to take care of making sure they have a collections arm. They had to make sure there was a disbursement arm, a KYC arm and they had to optimize across each of these functions in order to make any kind of money and scale my lending business. Now what we are doing is we're sort of specializing and making these people talk to each other through open APIs. Because earlier lending was not scalable compared to having these individual specialized entities, that all added to the customer acquisition costs. And again, like with what we showed in the embedded distribution slide, there was a table that I can share with you. I did not add it in the deck, but Boston Consulting Group recently did a study where they identified that the 3,000 to 5,000 rupee CAC for banks goes down to 800 to 1200 if they sort of embrace these embedded distribution ways. So the CAC goes down, the conversion rates go up. When you are on like a Swiggy or an Uber, and again, that's the whole point of embedded finance, that I, we bring the financial product to you in your point of need, rather than you going anywhere else. Hence, the conversion rates are higher. The time to decision is lower. So there are a lot of factors that go into why traditionally the CAC has been so high. And I think like you were from SBI, if I remember correctly. So she might have a better understanding of what the actual CAC is. I just mean like in from what I gathered online, this is what I could find, and I tried to fact check it. But yeah, if your CAC is looking very different, please let us know. Yeah. So when we talk about the supplemental trust scores, right? AI is to me is like not just generative AI. We do so the whole scoring process can only happen if we have the machine learning algorithms in place to look at your alternative data and then basis on some n number of features determine how much can we trust you. So that is the AI element here. And again, when you talk about doing hyper personalized vertical products, right? The two examples that we took were upskilling and then health emergencies. Within these products, there can be many applications of incorporating AI for like customer experience, onboarding, etc. But again, these are just two verticals. There can be many more that we can think about. Yeah, great question. So the question was, we see Swiggy, Zomato, etc. offering credit cards now. Are they looking at more of our data in order to provide us with financial products, right? So the reason Swiggy is offering credit cards, or like a Netflix or maybe Amazon is offering a credit card, is because they have the monthly active user volume in place. Zomato is used by 40 million monthly active members. And again, going back to our embedded distribution example, people are already there. If they have a point of need, it makes sense for Zomato to invest in offering a financial product, but they currently do not use any kind of alternative data in order to make that financial product better. So let's say the two of us are using Zomato, right? You're doing very well in your life. I am struggling. I don't have a good income, don't have credit products. Zomato today can still not show me a financial product. It could show it to you just because they're using that as a channel, but they're not using any alternative data about me to also show me that financial product. So where they're lacking right now is the ability to expand their access pool. The credit bureaus don't know. So yeah, correct. Right, right. Yeah. So great question. The benefit for card partners is essentially more people using their cards. Earlier, an SBI had to go to many different places in order for someone to get a credit card. Now they are partnering with Swiggy and saying 30 million, 40 million people come to your platform. We will work with you to offer an SBI branded credit card with Swiggy. And now that becomes an instant acquisition channel for the bank to acquire all of these Swiggy. Obviously, they might not be all. There's a whole funnel that might be in place, but a big chunk of these people will now start having access to this particular bank's credit card, which earlier they did not. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they have been traditionally higher, but with increasing embedded distribution, now they are starting to go lower and lower. So the third bullet here, which is like embedded finance allowing contextual delivery of credit. That contextual delivery is basically when you are on your Uber app, you have that delivery of the financial product or credit product, which is more context based. That is why it decreases the time to decision. Like if a bank comes to you and asks you to consider a credit card, versus when you're on Swiggy and you see a card offer there, you might always want to consider that more compared to a cold outreach from a lending institution. So yeah, that is what ends up like reducing the CAC further and further.
We can, excuse me, we can take the questions after the session. We have another session to go on. So sorry about that. Give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Next up, we have Pratik Gautam. He's a lead account manager here at GeekyAnts. So give him a round of applause again.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for your patience throughout the evening. So, my name is Pratik Gautam. I'm leading the client experience team at GeekyAnts, and I'm associated with GeekyAnts for last 4 years. So, yeah. So today I would be speaking about the AI chatbot in banking sector and how it is going to change the game for the customer service experience. So these are the topics which I would be having a discussion on, like how AI chatbots are being currently consumed in the banking sector. What are the key benefits of that? How do we implement them? And what are the key challenges we do face? And what are the future of the AI chatbots? So, what is AI chatbot and how it started? So, I will just give you a brief journey. I mean, in one of the projects which we had started when the COVID hit the world, so we were working on one of the enterprise level client. I cannot name the client basically because of the NDA clauses, but it was kind of a telecom giant in India, and we had worked upon one of the key applications for them. When the COVID hit, it was a kind of a sudden lockdown throughout India and throughout the world. So they were forced to start working from home over there. So, I mean, in those days, we didn't had that kind of application wherein these customer care agents, can directly interact via those application and, attend customer queries in terms of whether it is related to any payments or network queries or anything as such. So we build a progressive web application wherein it can be used without using any VPN or Citrix or any other tool. Basically, it was a kind of quite handy for any of the customer care agents, because during those days they were suddenly they were started working from home, and they were using their mobile phone directly in order to attend all the queries of the customers, and it was quite hectic for them on an usual timeline. If you talk about, if any customer calls to any customer care agent, usually the total timeline which takes is around 10 to 12 minutes in order to resolve the query. And on top of it, if you talk about, generally in most of the cases customers are not very much satisfied also, because they don't get clear resolution to their problems also. So that particular application helped us with the implementation of AI, and we were able to trace the issues which were being thrown by the AI agents already. And when the call were landed to the customer care agents, they were very much aware of what exactly the issues are, where are the pain points. There's the let's say in Maharashtra, in one of the region, there was a network related concern. So they were already having the kind of their GPS location, how many number of towers they were having over there, and how it works over there. And quickly they were prompted, like, what kind of possible solution could be suggested to those particular customers. And an easy solution were given to them, and in a very like 2 to 3 minutes of a span of time, they were able to resolve the overall query of the customers. So that's how we were able to implement a lot of AI, as well as this entire progressive web application for the customer. So yeah. So what are the, I mean, the traditional method before, what we were using, especially in the banking sector, we were supposed to go and physically visit different banks over there and get the resolution to the problem. In most of the cases, it happens like, you have to visit the bank, and in spite of that, you were requested to come down again for next day, or it takes longer than expected time. So with the use of AI, we were able to connect at any point of time. 24-hour services were being offered to the client. I mean, any of the banking sector users. So that's how we were able to excel it up and provide a long-term solution, and in a faster way. So these are the benefits of using AI chatbots in banking. That's what I said. 24 by 7. You can use the mobile application and have the solution at your fingertips. Let's say if you are traveling also, it takes generally half an hour to 45 minutes to reach your home. You can directly, you don't have to wait for Monday to come and go and physically visit the bank. You directly report those issues. It is already listed, And if it is a kind of a severe issues, it will be routed to the human agent. So it basically reduces the overall effort of the human agent before it lands to them for a physical call over there. So overall cost reduction, if it comes to hiring manpower, it is obviously a long-term cost, overall overheads on a particular employee. So, and continuously scaling them as well. So with the help of AI agents, it becomes quite easy in order to reduce the overall manpower, overall running cost for a company like any telecom company if you talk about, or any banking sector, private or PSU banks you talk about. It is really helpful for them in terms of operation cost and getting the faster response as well. So these are the, there could be multiple NLPs and ML, but these are the key tech stacks in which we use NLP and machine learning in order to train those chatbots on a regular basis from time to time. Uh, Talking about the technical challenges, what we face is in many of the organization, especially for the banking domain, we face whenever we get any kinds of lead, we are not able to close previously because of the data privacy and the compliances. So if we talk about GeekyAnts also, we are a GDPR and HIPAA compliance organization. So it becomes quite easy for us to gain the trust of the customer, and in order to convert those projects and move further to the ladder. But still the challenges if you talk about when it comes to developing any application, whether it is like a mobile application, web application, which should be responsive to the tablet and other platforms as well, that becomes a little challenging. But still I mean that is going to be a future move as well. So yeah, I mean talk let's common use cases. So where can you use AI chatbot? I mean, so basically, in most of the rural areas, also, if you see, there is a lot of potential because a lot of young people have started really using mobile application, and with the access of internet with lesser cost, it is quite easy for them to access multiple application, whether it is related to SDFC, ICIC, or any other private banks you talk about. So you can directly get in touch with the AI chatbot. You can get the information related to your account balance, any queries related to that. For loan also, you just put your details over there. They will give you based on your CIBIL score, as we had discussed in a couple of more discussions previously. In many of the cases, when you have to open, mostly for the employment, if you talk about, I mean, many companies will have a tie-up with private banking sector, right? And let's say if we have 500 employees who needs to be onboarded just for their, regular salaries, so they need to do the basic KYC and onboarding process. So if you do that in terms of paperwork, it takes a lot of time and effort and cost as well for the organization, and it is kind of it takes almost a week. With this, let's say if I give the example of ICICI itself, they have made the onboarding and the KYC registration process very smooth with the lot of implementation of the AI over there and immediate resolution to the issues. So it becomes quite easy on a regular basis if you see about it. So I mean these are the few examples which I have quoted from the recent banking. For SDFC, you see we have EVA, that is again a chatbot. SBI SIA is there. Bank of America, this is Erica. Okay, for Zoho we have Zia as well. And recently in one of our project, which is NTNU Reducer. So what it does is we have created a RE chatbot over there. So I will just give you a brief detail about it. You can go through the video. We have recently implemented this one. It is basically in order to reduce the overall carbon footprints of that particular construction site. So if you are going on and ahead with a heavy construction, so what kind of construction material you should be using in order to reduce overall carbon footprints. So if you put the data along with that, it will give you a kind of detailed report based on that. And it helps basically for you to gain the licensing and everything around that, and kind of a certification for that particular building also. So we have created this chatbot for this reducer. This is based out of Norway. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, at last, people, I mean, have a generic mindset, like, it is going to, with the access as well as ease of access and implementation of AI, it is going to replace human being. I feel like it is not. It is basically going to help you with, in a longer run, in order to gain more detailed knowledge and empower you, and providing best client experience as well. So yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pratik. Give him another round of applause. And we have come to an end of today's session. You might be wondering, I just came randomly. I can't find the host. So we will end the session, and we can go ahead to our next networking session. We have few snacks outside. Make sure you have those and continue our networking session. Thank you for coming in today.